What's up, Taiwan? I'm Sandy Chu with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. It is National Day here in Taiwan, and at celebrations in the capital Taipei, President Tsai said her country wants peaceful coexistence with China, but that Taiwan is determined to defend itself.
不挑衅，不冒进，在压力下也不屈服，和全球民主国家深化合作，共同维护区域和平稳定，也为世界贡献良善的力量。
Under Tsai, Taiwan has faced increasing aggression from China, which claims Taiwan as part of its territory. But Tsai told the nation that Taiwanese would decide their own fate. She pointed to her government's measures to bolster the country's defense. She also said international support for Taiwan had reached unprecedented heights. Her message of peace and self-reliance resonated with the members of the public at the ceremony.
You know, she's a peacemaker. Okay, extend the olive branch to the other side. You know, so hopefully, you know, we will have peace forever.
我觉得他7年以来都一直秉持着维持台海的那个安全，然后强化我们自己的防卫的能力。我觉得这个才是一个很根本的，不要靠别人，就是要靠自己。
She also looked back at her administration's accomplishments since she took office in 2016, including same-sex marriage, economic development, and energy security. After months of planning, crowds gathered downtown in Taipei on National Day to watch the country's biggest annual parade. Joyce Sun brings us this look from the presidential office.
It's the big day to celebrate Taiwan, and I'm standing at the heart of the massive annual National Day event outside of the presidential office in downtown Taipei. Now, behind me performing right now are special guests from abroad. It's the Tokyo University of Agriculture's second high school brass band, really putting on a showstopper, and behind them is the main stage where President Tsai Ing-wen and other VIPs from Taiwan and overseas are sitting and watching the show. Now, this is one of the biggest public holidays here, and people have turned up to catch a glimpse of what's essentially Taiwan's highlight reel, from traditional cultural performances to cameos from the country's top athletes. And the day started off bright and early with the raising of the flag of the Republic of China, Taiwan's official name, and a salute from the Defense Ministry's Honor Guard and military bands, including troops from the country's Army, Navy, and Air Force.
期待看到仪队的表演吧，就是三军仪队的表演嘛。
没有，都期待好多年，就今天实现他的希望，他终于上来看，他对第一次。
This year's event is also historic in terms of its international profile. Two of Taiwan's closest unofficial allies, Japan and the US, have shown up in the form of marching bands. And this is what many in the crowd told me they've been most excited for. Several specifically mentioned wanting to see UCLA, one of the US's top public universities, which has become the first group from the US ever to join Taiwan's National Day. Now, it was forecast to rain, and it has been drizzling a little bit here and there, but we've been lucky that the weather really has not been an issue. But arguably, the day's celebratory air is really down to the crowd's excitement and these performers' hearts and spirits. Alex Chen and Joyce Sun in Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
Away from the National Day ceremony in Taipei, Taiwan's most powerful opposition figures held a rival celebration in protest at the official parade's English name. Stash Butler reports.
Taiwan's former President Ma Ying-jeou shatters a decades-long custom, celebrating the country's National Day, but not at the government-held event. Instead, he's in New Taipei, a city controlled by his party, the Kuomintang. Because on what's meant to be a day of national unity, the very name of the country has become the focus of a fierce political debate.
从前年开始，蔡英文政府将双十国庆日的英文名称改成 Taiwan National Day， 中文就是台湾的国庆日。台湾是我们的家园，没有问题，但是中华民国才是我们国家名称，对不对？对。
Taiwan is officially called the Republic of China, a result of the fallout of the Chinese Civil War, when the leadership of the nationalist forces, the Kuomintang, fled to Taiwan and set up their government in Taipei. Ma, a member of that same party, says President Tsai Ing-wen's embrace of the name Taiwan violates the constitution, pushing Taiwanese nationalism and undermining a large part of the population's Chinese heritage. Local city-level celebrations like this are happening all over Taiwan, but for the most powerful politicians in the country, like Ma, there's only one national-level celebration, and that's about 10 kilometers that way, in the capital, Taipei. To skip the national event is a powerful signal of dissent, coming just 3 months before Taiwan votes in a pivotal presidential election. Ma and his party hope to leverage the moment against the Tsai administration to support their candidate and promote a stronger Chinese identity among the public. But how effective the move will be is less than clear.
It's not really an electorally successful strategy. It doesn't really resonate with a lot of voters, especially when we know that a lot of the sort of I'm Chinese narratives don't really reflect what we know the population of Taiwan identifies as. There's only a small minority of people in Taiwan that identify as Chinese exclusively.
In the capital, Taipei, President Tsai is heading National Day celebrations for the last time as her 2 terms come to an end. While over the river in the country's most populous city, a former president and other opposition figures hold their own commemoration, hoping next year's official parade takes place with their party back in power. Justin Owen-Butler in New Taipei for TaiwanPlus.
An influential figure in Taiwan's main opposition, Kuomintang, says he's hoping the opposition will unite for next year's presidential vote. Han Kuo-yu, the former mayor of Kaohsiung, met with Taiwan People's Party presidential candidate Ko Wen-je on Monday. In a photo posted on Facebook, Han said Taiwan expects the opposition to come together to unseat the ruling Democratic Progressive Party. The meeting between Ko and Han comes amid rumors of a possible alliance between the KMT and TPP. Taiwan will head to the polls on January 13th. In international news, U.S. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says the United States and China are at a historic decision point. Schumer is leading a bipartisan U.S. congressional delegation to China, the first of its kind since 2019. The group met with Chinese leader Xi Jinping on Monday to discuss opportunities for economic cooperation. Schumer says this is key to the future of U.S.-China relations.
We made clear to President Xi that America wants fairness and stability. At the foundation of the relationship must be a level playing field for American businesses and workers, as well as responsible competition.
Almost 1,600 Israelis and Palestinians have died in the ongoing conflict between Israel and Hamas. Hamas, the governing body of the Gaza Strip, has promised to kill an Israeli hostage for every attack on Palestinian civilians. As the conflict enters its 3rd day, the Israeli military continues to strike targets in Gaza, destroying buildings, infrastructure, and homes. That comes after Hamas militants staged a series of bloody incursions over the weekend, killing hundreds and taking an unknown number of people hostage. Israel has also cut off power, water, and food to Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. The head of the United Nations is calling on both sides to stop fighting and agree on a peace plan.
This most recent violence does not come in a vacuum. The reality is that it grows out of a long-standing conflict with a 56-year-long occupation and no political end in sight. It's time to end this vicious circle of bloodshed, hatred, and polarization.
The death toll for Saturday's earthquake in Afghanistan has climbed to 2,500. The city of Herat in the country's west was struck by the 6.3 magnitude quake and several strong aftershocks. Thousands are injured and at least 2,000 homes destroyed. The World Health Organization says the death toll is expected to rise and that vulnerable groups in the country have been especially affected.
The earthquake happened around 11 o'clock in the morning where men were out of the houses. So majority of those who are injured and died are women and children who were inside the houses at that time.
Back in Taiwan, firefighters have declared this National Day to be a day of mourning for their colleagues who died in the line of work. They say the government isn't taking their safety seriously, but their calls for change have been heard by at least 2 presidential candidates. John Van Trieste reports.
It's been almost a month since 4 firefighters died in a factory explosion, and the National Association for Firefighters' Rights is holding a candlelit vigil in Taipei. Not far behind their altar, preparations are underway for National Day, but the people here say there's nothing to celebrate. In between moments of private grief are flashes of anger at the government. The factory where the 4 firefighters died had a history of safety violations. The firefighters, too, are frustrated at what they see as a pattern of lax enforcement, which they say leads to avoidable deaths. Some, like this man, have lost friends in recent years and worry they could be next.
这些工厂到底有没有合格的，就是可能储藏这些危险物质也没有啊，他们就是随便就弄起来了。他们习惯把这成本外部化。
The association says this isn't a new problem. For 10 years, its members have pushed for greater legal protection and better health and safety. Above all, they want a union that can negotiate with the government and pressure it with the threat of a strike. The law says that as public servants, firefighters cannot unionize. But these firefighters have a plan. It's currently election season in Taiwan, and they've invited all 4 presidential candidates to attend the vigil and make changing the law part of their platform. 2 of the candidates responded. The Taiwan People's Party's Ko Wen-je was there to give his blessing in person, promising tougher inspections and a bigger firefighting force.
殉职不是消防人员的天命，维护消防权益是政府的使命。所以今天的这种诉求，你知道哈，顾食安、要公安、要工会，这个我们都全部支持哦。那大家就继续加油。
And the Kuomintang candidate Ho Yo-wi sent lawmaker Zhang Mingjong to express his support. He says the party is already working on changing the law.
我代表侯友宜总统候选人参与今天的会议，有关3项，包括强化公安。 有关强化治安，还有主工会的部分，我们全力支持。另外，你看国民党团早在休假之前，已经把法律提案递出去。
The association's next step is a meeting with cabinet officials on Thursday. As for what happens if the government doesn't budge, the firefighters have this to say.
当然希望可以，但 如果不行的话，我们不会就这样算了，我们会继续行动，绝对会更激烈，也会更团结。
Whether the growing political momentum behind them will help in their talks is unclear, but they're not scared to keep fighting if that's what it takes. Chris Ma and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Fighter jets escorted a plane carrying Taiwanese athletes home from the Asian Games, much to their surprise.
F-16在我们旁边，就是虽然天气不太好，但是还是有看到一些就是闪烁的烟火，这样，对，就感觉很棒。
Team Taiwan had their best performance in the Asian Games since 1998. They won 19 golds, 20 silvers, and 28 bronze in the Games, this year held in Hangzhou, China. Their performance placed them 6th in the medals table, behind China, Japan, South Korea, India, and Uzbekistan. But there won't be much time to rest, as many are now turning their attention to next year's Paris Olympics. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of a martial arts showcase at the National Day celebrations in Taipei. I'm Sandy Chi, take care and see you next time.